zombie knives has almost doubled in 5 years. The figures were revealed ahead of a ban on certain weapons, which comes into force across England and Wales tomorrow. Well, let's speak to Ciaran Thapar. He's from the Youth Endowment Fund. It's a charity that tries to prevent young people from getting involved in violence. Thanks for being with us. So can you give us an indication of the scale of the problem to do with knives at the moment?
Good morning. The scale is huge and has been since I guess the beginning of the last decade and forever, but has particularly peaked over the last decade and remains a huge problem. And I think the issue with zombie knives and machetes, those that are serrated edges, they're called statement knives, they're longer than 8 inches. Those in particular have become more and more prevalent in young people's lives and communities, in particular over the last decade and especially over the last few years, just in the last 5 years, as your data suggests, the number of times those are quoted, have doubled in crimes. But also, I think just in terms of my experience as a youth worker, anyone that works with young people will notice these weapons cropping up in conversation, in social media posting. So it's definitely a big problem that needs to be solved.
And how much difference do you think the ban will make?
I think that there has to be a sort of quite measured response to this. I think it's an important, vital step to ban them. I think this should have happened a long time ago. The loophole that allows them to be legal has plagued this issue since 2016, since they last tried to ban them. And so it's a really important forward step. It will create a disincentive for people selling them, so it holds adults to account who are making this problem worse. And it also allows young people, for the last month, people have been able to hand in their knives, and a lot of people, anecdotally speaking, have done that. Nonetheless, I think there are only a few opportunities that those of us working on this issue have every year to speak on how to prevent violence, and this is probably one of them. And I just encourage people not to focus too much on this legislation, because at the end of the day, it is banning one type of weapon that is used in a minority of homicides. The vast majority of knife-related homicides still use kitchen knives. People can still go into their kitchen, pick up a knife, and use that. So I think the underlying issues of fear and the drivers of behaviour that make young people pick up knives in the first place is really what we should be focusing on preventing. So making sure that we're funding therapeutic services to help their mental health, making sure that we're preventing young people from using social media in an irresponsible way, making sure that young people who need it are targeted with mentoring and enough support in schools. So there are other things that I think we should be definitely giving more airtime to, but this is nonetheless a really important step forward.
You mentioned some of the practical measures for helping people not go down that route. And is there kind of a cultural element? Is there a kind of gang element here that also needs to be tackled?
Without a doubt, gang-related issues across the country are rife, and I would say young people's affiliations and tendencies to get pulled in by gangs happens when they are isolated and they're not feeling supported by the services and the families and the communities that should be around them. So I think that these problems have worsened over the last 10 years, without a doubt. But there are also lots of underlying problems that aren't gang affiliated, and kind of framing it as just a gang issue, I think also probably misses the exact point.
Ciaran Thapar, thank you very much indeed for taking the time to talk to us. Thank you.